Okay, so this is a follow-up video for Petera Hallett from Taupo, the tangata whenua mahi kai hunter and gatherer that was prosecuted and trespassed for collecting kai on his own whenua. And that was because the Maori Trusts, or the forestry trusts, decided to trespass the landowners.
Yeah, which is normally it couldn't happen, but what they were really interested in doing is their agenda is to remove all ability to gather food from the natural environment. So what has to happen is they have to make up excuses to be able to do that, and so what they did in this case is they actually trespassed and prosecuted one of the owners off his own whenua, and then he appealed based on the fact that
he's a landowner.
Yeah.
But not only him, there was six others, eh?
Yeah, six others.
Six other hunters that all hapu members.
And the High Court judge, he covered up the District Court, which is Judge MCKENZIE.
The female judge, Judge MCKENZIE from the Taupo District Court. And also the other disturbing thing was Petera Hallett and those other hunters, they had to go into the Taupo Court
8 times.
Over 8 times, to defend themselves. They produced the Te Moananui Akiwa paperwork from the Hawaiian King that that Petera was anointed by the Hawaiian King as a federal marshal for Hawaii. They took in their
the signing by all the other hapu members that he was the
one of the hapu
person responsible for mahi kai.
And the trust members who actually trespassed Petera Hallett and the other hunters were receiving the kai.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about it.
So they whenever there was a tangi or a hui or anything, these hunters will go out and they'll get the kai, pretty standard as normal, and feed the
people attending.
Yeah, and the trust board members, and drop meat off and everything. Yeah. And then the trust board members do this.
Yeah, and then now we're at a stage where the High Court judge has covered up the District Court judge's lie by saying that in the first instance, Petera didn't produce information regarding him being an owner. Otherwise, he would have found for him.
Total bullshit, because every time we went to court with Petera, the whole Taupo Court was decked out, because all the hapu members, all the whānau, all the supporters, we were all there listening.
And that was the main point of Petera's argument.
Yeah, every time he'd say he's a landowner.
Yeah, I'm one of the landowners. Why are you trespassing me off my own whenua?
Yeah. And as landowners, they were allowed to cross-examine the witnesses, and the judge was she all, but she was actually adamant to prosecute him.
Yeah, but she
even said it, hey?
She
said, I'm going to prosecute you.
Yeah, but she knew he was an owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then now the second judge has said that there was no information provided that he was a landowner, and that's why he can't overturn the original decision.
It's bullshit, though. But that second judge is bound to protect,
Well...
So they're just in-house lies.
Yeah, the fraternity, the brotherhood. The brotherhood of judges.
Yeah, what about the
what about the brotherhood of man?
Or the brotherhood of the having a kai.
Well, in the end, if
hunting.
Listen, if the food production mechanisms that are in this place, if they fail, and they can, because it relies on transport and petrol and power.
I.e. if the supermarkets close in COVID-19, who are the most valuable people in this country? The hunters, the fishermen.
That can gather your food.
Yep, so we've got to protect the hunters and the fishermen, and that's what the cards do with the hunting and fishing.
And that's what they're trying to stop.
Yeah.
As they don't want us to have that protection. It looks like, on the surface of things, that the government actually, if there's a disaster, wants us to starve to death.
Yeah, and also this Wednesday there's another court hearing in Wellington for a diver that I'm doing, and we're privately prosecuting the Ministry of Primary Industries or Ministry of Fisheries out in Petone because they were, you know, trying to like fine and repossess the cars of this diver for collecting 3 paua, right? And when they went around to his house and found out he's got no assets or no money or not even any food, they decided to go to his parents' house, scope that out, get the parents' car, and then they went around to the grandparents' house and started looking for assets. Scummy bastards, eh? So we're privately prosecuting them.
So how the hell do they have... You explain to me, government, how they have the right to do that.
They don't. They're just assholes, man.
That
Ministry
is
of Fisheries.
Absolute bullshit.
I know. Well, we're doing a court thing on it, but this is interesting because the hunting and fishing guys were protecting, right?
Yeah.
And the shenanigans that we're revealing, like obviously the judge is going to like. The judges are bound. What do? They're going to just keep protecting the corporations.
Well, in the end, their jobs ride on it, don't they? Because they're appointed by government, and so.
But at some stage, they have to be fired.
You can't fire them. I mean,
Judge McKenzie is the worst.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the system is set up so that they can't be touched. None of them.
How do you fire one?
You have to beg with the Governor General.
Beg?
Or if they don't do it, it doesn't happen.
I don't know. It's pretty bad, eh?
It's terrible. It's the worst, most corrupt, most dangerous time to be alive.
Nah, it was more dangerous than other times. We're pretty lucky because we've got a card now.
Yeah.
Hey, also, how do you get about it? Like, what's the solution now? So say, for example, if another person watching this video, they go through the district courts, you know, they get prosecuted and then they decide to appeal to the High Court.
Yeah.
And then they find out that the judges are just covering up, you know, the tracks.
Other one, yeah.
Then what do they do? What's the next step?
You have to keep going up.
So the next is to appeal to a Supreme Court?
To the Court of Appeal.
Court of Appeal, and is there a fee, and how do you get about that?
Well, there is a fee, and it is expensive, and it's preclusive. It's designed that way so that not many people try to go to the.
Can you get about it?
Yeah, of course. There's a fee waiver.
And how do you apply for that?
It's just the form, you fill it out, and you've got to indicate some condition of hardship which precludes you from being able to afford to pay.
Okay, so that's what we'll do with Petera.
Yeah, and what it ends up being is that, like, should a man not get his justice if he doesn't have the money to? So they have to waiver it in the end if you don't have the money to pay in the interests of justice.
Yeah. Okay, what other things were we going to talk about? Oh, there's heaps. Oh, okay, we'll cut that there.
Yeah, we'll do another video.
Yeah.